This adorable Stegosaurus crochet pattern is so much fun to make, and even has an option for embroidered eyes to make a great new baby gift. The written pattern is available on my blog with DK and bulky yarn suggestions in the description below. Or if you'd like the ad-free PDF, you can get that when you pick up the Prehistoric Magical Crochet Greeting Card for a unique baby shower gift. This greeting card comes with a coordinating PDF pattern and adds a super cute finish to your gift that is sure to put a smile on friends and loved ones' faces. All right, let's go ahead and get crocheting.
We're starting on Stacy the Stegosaurus's body and head, and we're going to be working with this blue colored yarn. And the first thing that we need to do is get a magic ring formed, so let's review how to tie a magic ring, and then how to make our first few single crochet stitches inside of it. Alright, so let's review how to form a magic ring. So we're going to start by taking a little length of our yarn, and I'm using white for this demonstration. Make sure you're using the correct color for the pattern that you are following along with. So I'm going to take this white, and I'm going to reserve myself a little bit of a tail. So I'm going to take the end of that yarn, and I'm going to stretch it so I've got about 5 inches or so of a tail. And the tail is going to be the end that is not attached to our ball of yarn. So once we've got about 5 inches or so reserved of that tail, we're going to take our yarn hand. For me, that's my left hand, but if you're a left-handed crocheter, this might be your right hand. But we're going to take our yarn hand and make a bit of a finger guns here. So my index and my middle finger, I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to be looking at the inside of them. Then I'm going to take that tail that I've reserved, that 5 inches, and I'm going to lay it so that it's over the lower digit on my index and my middle. And then I'll take my thumb and I'm going to press the yarn to those 2 fingers. Then I'm going to take my hook hand, which is for me my right hand, but could be your left hand, and I'm going to grab the working yarn. Once I've got that grabbed, I'll take it and I'm going to wrap it around the back side of my index and my middle finger so that it's sort of close to that top digit. I'll flip my hand over so you can see. So I want it to be close to my top digit, so you can see it's closer to the 2 tops of my fingers here. So we're going to wrap that around, and then once we've got it around the top digit of those 2 fingers, we're going to bring it so that it goes behind our thumb again. So I use my thumb and I pinch that second wrap in place. Then we're going to keep wrapping, this time going around the lower digit on our 2 fingers. So I'll flip my hand over so you can see these 2 wraps here. This is that one I just made, going around that lower digit. So we'll wrap around that lower digit, and then we're going to take our working yarn and one more time snug it behind our thumb, and then just pull it out of our way. So once we've done that, we should have 2 wraps and this sort of X shape on the insides of our hands. So once we have all of the yarn wrapped around our yarn hand here, we're ready to take our crochet hook in our hook hand, and we're going to flip our yarn hand over so that we're looking at the back side of our fingers. So we should have 2 wraps, one around the top digit, one around the lower digit on our yarn hand. We're going to take our hook and slip it underneath that top wrap, and then use the hook part to snag that lower wrap and bring it underneath the top wrap. Then we're going to take both of our hands and we're going to flip them over so that we're looking at the inside and away from our body. So I'm flipping out and away from my body. And then I'm going to bring my 2 hands together, so my yarn hand and my hook hand. I'm going to bring them so the index finger here on my hook hand can touch the back side of my yarn hand. Then using the thumb and index finger of my hook hand, I'm going to grab both the wrap on my hook and the wrap still on my fingers right where they meet. So I'm going to kind of snag the 2 of them together right there. Once I've got those pinched between my thumb and index finger on my hook hand, I can let go with my thumb and then gently slide those wraps off of my index and middle finger. So now that I've done that, let's locate both the tail, that's the end that's no longer attached to our ball of yarn, so it's got this blunt cut end on it. And we're going to kind of pull that over into the 12 o'clock position, so kind of up and away. And then let's locate the working yarn. That's the stuff still attached to our ball of yarn. So once we've got those two identified, we're going to take the working yarn and begin tensioning it. So to do that, we'll take our index finger on our yarn hand. That for me is my left hand. Could be your right hand for you if you're a left-handed crocheter. And we're going to slip the working yarn over the top of our index finger. Then we'll take our middle, ring, and pinky finger on our yarn hand, and we're going to wrap those around that working yarn. Once you've done that, we also need to sandwich this working yarn in between our magic ring and our tail. So to do that, I like to take my middle finger and thumb on my yarn hand, and I'm going to grab that tail with my middle finger here. And then with my thumb, I want to grab the ring. So we don't want to grab our working yarn, which is kind of going in through that ring. We want to just get the bottom end of the ring here. And once you've got those two, we're going to kind of pinch them together. And you can see that sandwiches our working yarn in between the two of them. Once we've got those grabbed with our yarn hand, we can let go with our index and thumb on our hook hand. And the ring here that's on our hook is really loose. We'll tighten that by pulling our index finger up and away. You can see how that tightens that yarn. And then once we've done that, we're ready to yarn over and draw through the loop on our hook. So we'll take our hook, put the yarn over our hook. So I kind of just swing around the back side there and grab it. And we're going to pull that working yarn directly through the loop on our hook. Once we've done that, you can let go. It's not going to come undone. It won't come untied, which is very comforting because we've spent all this time creating it. The last thing we need to do before we're ready to begin is we're going to take the tail, and you can see it's threaded through our magic ring. We're going to take that tail and we're going to pull it out from the center of that ring. And from here, we're ready to begin working in the magic ring. We also need to work over the tail as well. So we'll take that ring and we'll take the tail and we're going to set them together so that we are working over both of these strands, the ring and the tail. All right, you are ready to go ahead and continue on in your pattern. All right, so now that we have our magic ring formed, we're ready to start in on round 1. And if you look at the top left-hand corner of the video here, you'll see the instructions for round 1, and then all of the rounds of this pattern are going to follow along with us. So feel free to reference the top left corner in addition to the written pattern that you already have access to. So for round 1, we need to put 6 SC in MR, which means we need to place 6 single crochet stitches inside of our magic ring, and that will give us 6 stitches at the end of this round. So to make our first single crochet stitch, we're going to be working in both the ring and over the tail that we use to tie the ring. So we'll take our crochet hook and we're going to go through that ring and under that tail. Then we're going to yarn under, meaning we're going to put the yarn underneath our crochet hook and draw it through that ring and up into a nice tall loop on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over, so we're going to put the yarn over our crochet hook. We're going to draw it through those 2 loops on our hook. And that forms our first single crochet stitch. We also want to mark this little V shape here with our stitch marker. And that's our first single crochet stitch. We're going to continue adding them in that exact same way until we have 6 of them total here in our magic ring. So again, we'll take our hook, go through that ring, under the tail, yarn under and draw that working yarn through and up into a tall loop on our hook, then yarn over and draw our working yarn through both of the loops on our hook. So here's our third single crochet stitch. fourth. Our fifth, and one more. Our last. So once we have all 6 of our single crochet stitches in our magic ring, we can take the tail that we've been working over and by pulling it tightly, close off that first round, which sets us up for round 2. And round 2, we just need to put 1 single crochet stitch in each of the 6 stitches that we made from round 1. So we're going to make our stitches the same way, but instead of going through the magic ring, we're going to have to go through the stitch itself. So our first stitch is marked for us. That's where we're going to be working. So we'll take our marker out. And then we're going to take our crochet hook and go through that stitch where our marker was. And we're going to get both sides of that stitch through. And then from here, it's just like a single crochet stitch in a magic ring. We'll yarn under and draw through the stitch we went through and up into a nice tall loop. And then yarn over and draw through the 2 loops left on our hook. We also want to mark the stitch that we just created because we always mark the first stitch of the round. Then we need to put another single crochet stitch in the next stitch. So we're going to rotate our work, grab that next little V shape, and single crochet. Rotate, place our next single crochet stitch in the next stitch from round 1. That takes us to the end of round 2. So here I like to pull my magic ring tail pretty tightly, and then I'm going to take my scissors and give it a trim. Not all the way off, just short so that this tail stays out of my way, and we can discard this. Alright, that's round 2 done. We're ready to move on to round 3. We're going to start by putting 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. So we'll take our stitch marker out, put 1 single crochet stitch where the marker just was, and then remark. Then we need to put another single crochet stitch in the next stitch of the round. Then we need to put 2 increases, 1 in the next 2 stitches. So to increase, we're going to put 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch from the previous round. So we'll go through our next stitch and make 1 single crochet stitch. And then we're going to do that a second time in the same stitch. So go back through that same stitch from the previous round and make a second single crochet. So we've got 2 stitches coming out of the same hole or stitch from the previous round. We need to do that a second time, so make another increase in the next stitch. So here's my first single crochet stitch. And I need to do that a second time to increase. So there are my 2 increases. And then to finish the round off, we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the remaining 2 stitches of the round. So there's my first and my second. Alright, that's round 3 done. For round 4, we've got a new idea. But let's start with what we know on the instructions, which is to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. So here's my first single crochet stitch. I need to mark that. And then 1 single crochet stitch in the second stitch of the round. And then we've got some parentheses that have instructions inside. So what that means is we need to do everything in those parentheses in the order that they appear, the amount of times indicated on the outside of the parentheses. So we need to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next stitch, and then an increase in the stitch after, And we need to repeat that a second time because there's a multiplication sign and the number 2 outside of the parentheses. So we'll start 1 single crochet stitch in the next stitch of the round, increase in the next stitch, so 2 single crochet stitches in the same stitch from the previous round. That's 1 repetition. We'll repeat that instruction a second time, 1 single crochet stitch in the next stitch of the round, increase. Alright, and we've repeated that instruction twice, so we can move on to the last part of this round, which is to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches. Alright, and that wraps up round 4. So round 5 we'll start again by putting 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. There are those first 2 stitches. Then I need to repeat another parentheses pattern. This time I'm going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches and then increase. So 1 single crochet stitch, 2 single crochet stitches, increase. And then I need to repeat that instruction a second time. So 1 single crochet stitch, 2 single crochet stitches, increase. Then 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches, last 2 stitches of the round. Alright, that's round 5 done. Round 6 we're going to start by putting 1 single crochet stitch in the next 5 stitches of the round. Alright, there are those first 5 single crochet stitches. Then we're going to place 1 increase in the next stitch. Then we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 3 stitches. Follow that with 1 increase. And then 1 single crochet stitch in the remaining 2 stitches of the round. That's round 6 done. Round 7 we'll start by putting 1 single crochet stitch in the next 6 stitches of the round. Alright, there are those first 6 single crochet stitches. Follow that with an increase. Then put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 4 stitches of the round. Follow that with an increase. And then 1 single crochet stitch in the remaining 2 stitches of the round. Alright, that's round 7 done. Round 8 we're going to start by putting 1 single crochet stitch in the next 7 stitches of the round. There are those 7 single crochet stitches, then an increase, followed by 5 single crochet stitches, then 1 increase, and then 1 single crochet stitch in the remaining 2 stitches of the round. Alright, that's round 8 done. Round 9, we're just going to put 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way around. Alright, that's round 9 done. Round 10, we've got a new parentheses pattern to repeat. So we're going to start by putting 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. Then follow that with an increase. And then we need to repeat this pattern of 2 single crochet stitches, increase, another 5 times for a total of 6 repetitions. Alright, that's round 10 done. Round 11, we've got another parentheses pattern to repeat. So we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 3 stitches of the round. And then follow that with an increase. Then we're going to repeat that pattern of 1 single crochet stitch in the next 3 stitches and then an increase, another 5 times for a total of 6 repetitions. Alright, that's round 11 done. Round 12, we just need to put 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way around. Alright, that's round 12 done. Round 13, we've got another parentheses pattern to repeat. So we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 4 stitches of the round. So then those first 4 single crochet stitches, then I need to increase. Then we need to repeat that pattern of 4 single crochet stitches, increase 5 more times for a total of 6 repetitions all the way around. Alright, that's round 13 done for me. Round 14, we've got another parentheses pattern to repeat. So 1 single crochet stitch in the next 5 stitches of the round. Followed by an increase. Then we need to repeat that pattern of 5 single crochet stitches, increase, another 5 times for a total of 6 repetitions. Alright, that wraps up round 14, so rounds 15 through 21, we need to just put 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way around. So don't forget to remark your first stitch at the beginning of each new round, and I will see you back here whenever I have finished the last single crochet stitch of round 21, and we're ready to move on to round 22. Alright, I have just finished round 21. I'm ready to move on to round 22, where we've got a new type of stitch to learn. And we're going to do that right away. It's called a decrease, so we need to take our stitch marker out. And to do a decrease, we're going to go through the stitch the marker was just in, yarn under and draw up a loop. And then we need to do that same thing in the next stitch. We're going to go through, yarn under and draw up a loop. Then yarn over and draw through all 3 loops to finish our decrease. And then of course mark that decrease as it's the first stitch of the round. Alright, so once we've done our decrease, now we need to do one single crochet stitch in the next 15 stitches of the round. Alright, there are those 15 single crochet stitches. Now we've got a parentheses pattern to repeat. So we're going to put one decrease, follow that with 3 single crochet stitches, and then we're going to repeat that pattern another 4 times for a total of 5 repetitions all the way to the end of the round. Alright, that's round 22 done. Round 23, we're going to start again with another decrease. Then we'll put one single crochet stitch in the next 14 stitches of the round. Alright, there are those 14 single crochet stitches. Then we've got another parentheses pattern to repeat where we're going to decrease and then put one single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. Then we'll repeat that same pattern 4 more times for a total of 5 all the way to the end of this round. Alright, that's round 23 done. Before we move on to round 24, let's add a little stuffing to the end of the body here because this opening is just going to get smaller and it'll be harder to stuff if we wait any longer. So let's take the loop on our hook and pull it up nice and tall and then take our hook out. And then we're going to take some stuffing and just stuff it to the very tip of the tail here. Alright, so there's the tip of the tail stuffed. We don't need to add any stuffing to the inside just yet. We can do that a little later on. So we're good to go ahead and reinsert our hook into that loop we pulled up long and tighten it down. And we're ready for round 24, where we're going to start with a decrease. And then put one single crochet stitch in the next 13 stitches of the round. So there are those 13 single crochet stitches. Then we got another parentheses pattern to repeat where we're going to decrease and then put one single crochet stitch in the next stitch and repeat that 4 more times for a total of 5 to the end of this round. Alright, that's round 24 done. Round 25, we've got a parentheses pattern to repeat where we're going to put one single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. And then a decrease. And we'll repeat that pattern of 2 single crochet stitches, decrease, 5 more times for a total of 6 repetitions all the way around this round. Alright, that's round 25 done. Round 26, we're going to put one single crochet stitch in the next 18 stitches. So just one single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way around. Alright, so before we move on to round 27, let's go ahead and add some more stuffing to the inside of the body here. So we'll pull this last loop up on our hook long, and then just push some more stuffing to the inside of the body through this opening here. Alright, so there's some stuffing added to the inside of the body. We can continue stuffing as we keep working. So we can put our hook back through that loop and drop back down. And we're ready for round 27, where we're going to begin by putting an increase in the first stitch. Then we're going to put one single crochet stitch in the next 10 stitches. Alright, there are those 10 single crochet stitches, and then we're going to put one increase in the next 7 stitches of the round. Alright, there are those 7 increases, and I'm ready to move on to round 28, where I'll start by putting one single crochet stitch in the first 16 stitches of the round. Alright, so there are those 16 single crochet stitches, and then we've got a parentheses pattern to repeat, starting with one increase in the next stitch, and then one single crochet stitch in the stitch after. And we're going to repeat that pattern another 3 times for a total of 4, so increase, one single crochet stitch, Alright, there's that last repetition, and I'm going to put one single crochet stitch in the remaining 2 stitches of the round. Alright, so for rounds 29 through 32, we just need to put one single crochet stitch in every stitch all the way around. So don't forget to mark the first stitch of each new round as you go, and I will see you back here whenever I have finished round 32. Alright, so I just finished round 32, and I'm moving on to round 33, where I'm going to start by putting one single crochet stitch in the next 16 stitches of the round. Alright, there are those 16 single crochet stitches. Then I'm going to place a decrease, and then one single crochet stitch, and then repeat that another 3 times, so decrease, one single crochet, alright, and then in the last 2 stitches of the round, one single crochet stitch in each. And that's the end of round 33. Next, we need to insert the safety eyes, so let's go ahead and take the loop on our hook and draw it up long. Alright, and the eyes are going to be placed in between rounds 32 and 33, which is the round we just made and the round right before. And then before we insert the eyes, if you're going to be giving Stacy to a pet or a small child, you may not want to use safety eyes for this. You may want to embroider them on. I'm going to be using safety eyes though. So first, the body has sort of a flat side and then more of a shaped rounded side. We want to make sure the flat side is facing down because that's the bottom of the body. And then when we place the safety eyes, we want them to be sort of along either side, in between round 33 and 32, which is this round right here on the head. So they're going to go kind of along either side here. So I'm going to place the first safety eye over here on the right hand side. And then I'm going to make it so that the other safety eye is even with that one, in between the same space here. And it's easy to tell because the front of the head is open. You can see how they line up. But once you have them positioned where you like them to go, and I'm feeling pretty good about where these guys are, I'm going to snap the little backs on the insides here. And there are the safety eyes inserted. And we can continue working around, so let's go ahead and put our hook back through that loop we drew up long and tighten it down. And we're ready for round 34. We're going to start by decreasing in the first stitch. Then we're going to put one single crochet stitch in the next 10 stitches. Alright, there are those 10 single crochet stitches. Then we're going to place 7 decreases. Alright, there are those 7 decreases, which finishes that round for me. And I'm ready for round 35. I'll start by putting one single crochet stitch in the next stitch of the round. And then a decrease. And then I'm going to repeat that pattern another 5 times for a total of 6 repetitions. So one single crochet stitch, decrease. Alright, there's round 35 done. Before we make round 36, I'm going to go ahead and stuff the inside of the head here. So I'll pull this last stitch long. And we're just going to put some stuffing to the inside here. Alright, so there's the head stuffed, and I'm ready to make that last round, which is where we're just going to put one single crochet stitch in the 12 stitches of the round. Alright, there's that last single crochet stitch, and I'm ready to fasten off. I'll take my marker out, and I'm going to make a slip stitch where that marker just was. So I'll take my hook and go through that next stitch, put a yarn over and draw up a loop, and then draw that loop through the only other loop on my hook. Then we need to cut a tail to sew with, so reserve yourself 6 to 8 inches, and then cut your working yarn. Then we're going to pull that tail that we just cut through that stitch by pulling that loop until the tail goes through, and then tightening that stitch down. And then we need to close up this opening here at the front of the body. So we'll take the tail that we just cut and thread it through our tapestry needle. And And then we're going to sew through the front loops of each of these 12 stitches left behind on the last round. So when we've been crocheting, we've been getting both loops. The one closest to the inside, the back loop, and the one closest to the front side, the front loop. When we sew these stitches closed, we only want to get that front loop. So we're going to kind of go up and in between those two loops, only grabbing the front. Then whip stitch that tail through and then continue sewing through each of these front loops at the front of the body. Alright, so once you've sewn through all 12 of those front loops, we can pull this tail pretty tightly, which will close off that round. And then we need to secure this round by tying a surface knot. So we'll loop our tail over the surface of our work. So up through some of the fabric of the work itself, and then through that loop that we've created here on the surface. And then by pulling, that loop will wrap around the tail, which ties a knot. And we can sew it inside of that opening here and into the body to weave the tail in. Then you can unthread your tapestry needle and cut, which weaves the tail in and wraps up the body. So let's move on to the next part of the pattern. Alright, next up we need to make Stacy the Stegosaurus's legs. We need to make 4 of these, so I'll walk you through how to make the first, and then you'll need to make 3 more, and we can get them attached. So we're going to be working with this blue yarn again, and starting with another magic ring. Alright, once we have our magic ring formed, we're ready to start on round 1, where we're going to put 8 single crochet stitches inside. Alright, when you have all 8 of your single crochet stitches, you can pull the tail of the ring to close off round 1. Then round 2, we're going to increase in each of the 8 stitches from round 1. Alright, there's round 2 done. I'm going to pull my magic ring tail tight one last time, and then give it a trim. Alright, we're ready for round 3. We're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in each of the 16 stitches we made for round 2. Alright, that's round 3 done. Round 4, we're going to begin by putting 1 single crochet stitch in the first 2 stitches of the round. Alright, there are those first 2 single crochet stitches. Then I need to make 6 decreases. There are those 6 decreases. Then I'm going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. That's round 4 done. Round 5, we're going to put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 3 stitches. There are those first 3 single crochet stitches. We're going to put 2 decreases. And then 1 single crochet stitch in the remaining 3 stitches of the round. for round 6 and 7, just one single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way around. So I'll see you back here whenever I finish round 7 and we're ready to fasten off. Okay, I just finished the last round of single crochet here on the leg, and I'm ready to fasten off by taking that stitch marker out and slip stitching to the stitch it was just in. Then we need to cut a long tail because we're going to use it to sew the leg onto the body. And just like with the front of the body, we're going to pull until that loop pulls the tail all the way through and then tighten down. And that is one of the legs done. We need to make 3 more and then we can get them attached to the body. Alright, I have all 4 of my legs crocheted and I'm ready to get them attached. So they're not going to be stuffed. They're going to be sewn onto the body sort of flat. So we're going to be sewing through both layers of this fabric here. And then you can see it sort of comes to a point here at the front. So the feet of the leg are going to kind of all face forward. So when we get them positioned here on Stacy's body, the first front legs are going to kind of go just behind where the neck is. And they're going to be attached by sewing through, again, both layers of the fabric of the leg and through the body. So let's begin by threading the tail left over from one of the legs. And then double checking that we have it so that the toes are pointing forward here. We're going to set that here on the side of the body. And then to attach, we'll grab some of the fabric of the body itself. And then sew through both layers of the fabric of the leg. And we're just going to keep repeating that, sewing through each stitch of the leg until we sew all the way across, which closes the leg and also attaches it to the body. Alright, once you've done that, we're going to sew into the body, and I'm going to actually send my yarn underneath where the leg is. And we'll tie a surface knot to secure the leg to the body. So make a loop over the surface of the body, sew up through some of the fabric and into that loop, and then pull to tie a knot. And then sew inside of the body and just up through any old place to weave the tail in. And we can snip that tail. And that is the first leg attached. All of the legs are going to be attached the same way. So on the side here, the other leg will be attached in line just towards the back. And then on the other side, the same thing with the toes pointing towards the face, attaching the legs. So I will see you back here when I have all of the legs attached and we're ready to move on in our pattern. Alright, so I have all 4 of Stacy's legs attached and I'm ready to move on to the next part of the pattern, which is to add this little green cheek detail to the face. So we're going to take a little scrap of the same color of green that we're going to use for the spikes and get that threaded through the eye of our tapestry needle. Then we're going to send the needle in between some of the spaces between stitches. So be really careful not to grab any of the fabric. Just send it straight through. And then we're going to go up right next to one of the eyes. And when we pull through our fabric, we want to leave a little tail on the outside. And then this cheek is just a little straight stitch run alongside the outside of the eye. So I'll sew this one and then send across to sew on the other side. So there's the cheek here on this side. We'll repeat on the other side. And then come up through the same space without snagging any of the fabric here that we went down through to start with. And that sews the cheek detail here on the other side. Then we can unthread our needle and we can tie these 2 ends together into a knot. Trim it so that the tails are really short. And then using our embroidery needle, we can pull the fabric of our work up which hides the knot on the inside of the head. Alright, so there's that cheek detail added. Last, let's go ahead and make the spines. So with that same green color that we just used on the cheek detail, we're going to make 4 of these. So I'll walk you through how to make the first, and then you'll need to make 3 more, and then we'll get them attached to the body. So we're going to begin by tying another magic ring. And for round 1, we're going to put 4 single crochet stitches inside of this magic ring. There are my first 4. I'm going to pull the tail to close the ring off. Then for round 2, we've got a parentheses pattern to repeat, starting with 1 single crochet stitch in the first stitch of the round. And an increase in the next stitch. And we'll repeat that a second time, so 1 single crochet stitch, increase. That's round 2 done. Round 3, we'll put 1 single crochet stitch in the next 2 stitches of the round. So there are those 2 single crochet stitches, then an increase. Then repeat that a second time, so 2 single crochet stitches, and an increase. Alright, and then one more round, round 4, 1 single crochet stitch in the next 3 stitches of the round. Then an increase. And repeat that a second time. Alright, and that wraps up the spine, so we can fasten off by slip stitching to where that stitch marker just was. And then we need to cut a tail too, so with and pull that last slip stitch until the tail goes through and tighten down. I'm also going to trim my magic ring tail so it's in line with the top of the spine. Alright, and that is one of the spines done. We need to make 3 more, so we'll have 4 total, and then we can get them attached to Stacy's body. Alright, I have all 4 of my spines crocheted, and I'm ready to get them attached. So they're going to be attached here along Stacy's back, and just like with the legs, we're going to be folding them flat and sewing through both layers of fabric as we attach them to the body. So you can kind of see they're going to be positioned in a ridge, just like on a real Stegosaurus. Just like so. And then we need to attach each one. So I'll show you how to attach the first, and then you can attach the rest, and we'll come back when everything's all put together. So we'll thread the tapestry needle with the tail left over from one of the spines. And then I like to start with the tail sort of over on the right hand side of the spine. I'm going to put it on the body, centered with the eyes, centered on the back. And then sew through some of the fabric of the body. And then sew through both layers of the spine. I'm just going to keep grabbing some of the body, sewing through the next 2 stitches, both layers of that spine here, until I've sewn all the way across. And then to secure the spine, I'm going to sew into the body and then up really close to the side of the spine here to tie my surface knot. And then I'm going to weave the tail into the back here and inside the body. Then trim. And there is one of the spines attached. Let's repeat with the remaining 3 to finish the pattern. Alright, so I have all 4 of the spines attached, and that wraps up Stacy the Stegosaurus's tutorial.